What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Alex here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the official release of Chainsaw Man chapter 136. I apologize for the fake spoilers. I was really sure that they were real, but as always, Fujimoto manages to produce a chapter that blows away any predictions that we had straight out of the water. But with all that out the way, let's get back to the review. Alright, so the chapter finally picks back up with DENJI going to school, going through the motions, trying to just get through the day. And then we see DENJI in the locker room grabbing his kicks, where we see this nerdy kid who's just the living incarnation of Treader, and he just walks up to DENJI and seemingly judges him based on the fact that DENJI is wearing a Chainsaw Man shirt. And we learn more about how the high schoolers are starting to view Chainsaw Man, with some of them saying that Chainsaw Man was stealing Asa Mitaka's accomplishments, with this nerd just being a total simp. And then out of nowhere, we get one of the students who's obviously a Chainsaw Man fan and part of the Chainsaw Man search. Hear this nerdy kid dissing on Chainsaw Man and being a simp, and instead of actually attacking this simp, this random guy gets physical with DENJI, despite the fact that DENJI is wearing a Chainsaw Man shirt. And as crazy as funny as this interaction was, it really is starting to show how fanatical some of the people who are following Chainsaw Man actually are, despite the church actually preaching that the Chainsaw Man church is out for peace and justice. And we can see clearly that they have no problems beating up someone for talking bad about Chainsaw Man, which is a pretty scary thing when you think about it. Cut to DENJI, who's talking to the principal, where unfortunately he's being blamed for starting the fight and is actually being discriminated against because, DENJI is essentially broke, and he is an orphan. And when he's done hearing the principal's lecture, he goes to walk out looking super depressed, where we see Yoshida, who offers to skip school with DENJI and to hang out with him, since to him it would be something that ordinary high schoolers would do. Then we see that DENJI and Yoshida are in a movie theater in a panel very similar to DENJI's date with Makima, with a dead devil lying on the stage. But we learn that because of the devil attack, all the people in the theater have evacuated, so it's actually just the two of them there. And the reason why Yoshida seemed to bring DENJI along was to try and convey the message that the world doesn't need Chainsaw Man. And here's the example of how this devil was killed in the movie theater 2 minutes after it appeared by devil hunters, which meant to show off that even without Chainsaw Man, the world seems to be functioning, well, pretty normally. And although it isn't really stated, given that two regular people were able to take on a devil and devil incidents are likely being resolved more quickly, it's possible that with Chainsaw Man's disappearance, he actually isn't drawing out the stronger devils, which could cause insane amounts of casualties and collateral damage. So, it sort of means that by DENJI not transforming into Chainsaw Man, it is making the world, or at least Japan, a lot safer place to live in. And Yoshida does say an interesting line in this chapter that shouldn't be overlooked by what happened in this chapter. You aren't the protagonist of this movie. It's not like the world will end without you. And this is an interesting line because it can imply two things. The one thing is Fujimoto's way of speaking to Yoshida that Asa is our main character, even though it's clear to me that people like DENJI a lot more and would likely prefer the story to focus more on him. This is really Fujimoto doubling down on his decision of making Asa the main protagonist. And the second theory that I actually have is this statement can be taken in the opposite way, because in case you forgot, all the way back in chapter 98, the first chapter of part 2 story, when Yoru made her first appearance, she said that she would make Chainsaw Man vomit nuclear weapons devil back up. And in volume 12, the cover dialogue said that Yoru would unleash a great calamity on the world, and the only way she can actually do this, to bring about an age of chaos and destruction, would be by making Brachida appear to vomit up the devils he ate. So in other words, the world cannot literally end unless DENJI intervenes in some way that would inadvertently cause it. AKA, although DENJI may not be the protagonist of the story, he is literally the key to causing the world's ultimate destruction. And this could just be a pun that's said by Yoshida, who likely knows the truth of the matter. Later on in the chapter, it's actually revealed that not only did Yoshida bring DENJI out to this theater to make him more acceptable of living the life that he's living now, but unbeknownst to DENJI, Yoshida actually set him up for a date with a girl from his class. But before walking off to give them their privacy, We get a brief bit of vulnerability from Denji, who asks Yoshida, is this what it's like to be normal? This moment reminds me of the moment when Denji asked Makima whether or not he was human and if he had a human heart. And I think similar to the scene, Yoshida isn't giving Denji an honest answer by answering yes to this. After all, even Yoshida questions if skipping school will make them ordinary high schoolers, because even Yoshida is not sure what a normal life actually is. I mean, he realizes that Denji and him aren't ordinary people. I mean, this is shown as the two of them are watching a movie alone in a place that would normally terrify the average person, and both have had experiences that would cause anyone to break down mentally from the sheer amount of pressure, stress, and emotional and physical trauma that they've both been through. It also shows that the two of them are both alone, and maybe why Yoshida is trying to give Denji a normal life, not just because he's trying to distract Denji from his true feelings so he can succeed in his own endeavors, which is incredibly selfish and makes him a total fraud, but because him and Denji both yearn for the same thing. After all, the last time we had two characters sitting in a theater, the one place where the truth is truly revealed in Chainsaw Man. Although it wasn't ever stated through symbolism of how Makima and Denji interacted, we both know they both yearn for the same thing, an emotional relationship where they were understood and received lots of hugs. And I think this applies to Yoshida and Denji as well to some extent. And then we get the saddest panel of them all with Denji sitting alone, feeling completely isolated, confused, and trapped. And if you watch season 1 of Chainsaw Man's opening, this panel hits a lot harder considering all the people he considered to be his friends and family all died or disappeared at the end of part 1. And then the worst thing that could possibly happen to a confused teenage boy who's been abused emotionally, physically, and used multiple times in the past, a wild thought appears. And not just any thought, but a snake thought. And then we get to see Denji speak his thoughts, which is something we don't get a lot from Denji. And he acts very mature in this moment, because even though he feels terrible, he doesn't take any of his emotions out on this random girl, and actually speaks out loud and tries to open up to this thought, and explains that there are a lot of things that he can't do now, and that he doesn't know what to do with himself. And I think if Denji were able to sit alone and think, he may have come to the conclusion he needed to actually get out of the situation that he's currently in. But once again, as always, Denji is assaulted in a way I cannot say for the 5th time by a female he was attracted to. And not just any Thot, but Snake Thot, who's the thirstiest Thot that Denji has ever encountered. Even thirstier than Rize after she saw Denji's snake. And the chapter ends with Denji in disbelief that this Thot, the Thot who's above the heavens and the earth, the honored Thot, the snake Thot, put her hands on Denji's solid snake. This was a very unexpected chapter, certainly not something anyone could have possibly predicted, but man, I mean, the way Denji reaches his dreams is like making a wish on a monkey paw. I mean, he gets what he wants, but in the most unwanted way imaginable. And just to answer this question, who is this girl that Yoshida picked up to give Denji that Snake 3000? Well, you checked out my stream where we do discussions of the recent chapters. Between me and my viewers, we came over to the conclusion that this girl could be someone from Yoshida's organization who's been assigned to Denji as his girlfriend to keep an eye on him and to keep him from turning into Chainsaw Man and separate him from Asa. Or this could actually be a devil. Now, by no means do I think this is the Death Devil. After all, she doesn't have the same eyes as the rest of the other 4 horsemen. I doubt Yoshida would introduce him to the Death Devil's fusion if she has a human host after Yoshida wanted Chainsaw Man to eat the Death Devil. Instead, this could be the Snake Devil or someone with a contract with the Snake Devil. After all, her physical features of this girl and the last person who made a contract with the Snake Devil are actually similar to one another. And snakes in the Bible are often associated not only with the first sin, but seduction itself. This will truly be Denji's greatest test, where for the first time next chapter, we'll really see the moment where he really thinks about just what he really wants. Now, in my opinion, unfortunately though, there is a good chance, honestly, that Denji does actually sleep with this girl. I mean, after all, he's depressed, confused, and emotionally unstable. And we all know how bad Denji's decisions making can be when he's under a lot of these conditions. I mean, it's how Makima was able to break Denji in the end and almost turned him into her slave for all of eternity. And I'm betting that Yoshida is counting on him to make the same rash decisions he made in part 1 that ended up costing him everything. But let me know in the comments section down below, do you think Denji will sleep with this girl? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As you guys know, I do read the comment section. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. This is Alex, and I'm signing out.